Welcome. This is the beginning of a long and very quiet journey. Greek mythology. Not told with thunder, not told with fire, but told as a slow and steady stream of words, for rest, for sleep. In the very beginning, there was nothing. No sky, no sea, no mountain, no God. Only a vast emptiness. The Greeks called it chaos, a word that long ago did not mean confusion. It meant a gap, a yawning space, a silent, endless opening. From this still, dark void, the first beings drifted into being. Gaia, the earth, broad and patient, solid and quiet. She was the ground itself, the hills, the stones, the fertile soil. Next came Tartarus, a deep, unseen pit. Not yet an underworld, more like a shadow of depth, a place beneath all things. Then Eros, not yet the playful god of love, just the spark that binds things together, a gentle pull, a soft attraction. From chaos also came Nyx, the night, and Erebus, the darkness. Night and darkness drifted quietly over the void. They were like a veil, soft and endless. Gaia, the patient earth, gave birth without a partner. First she brought forth Uranus, the sky, a dome of stars, blue and cold above her. She rose up to meet him. He stretched over her, endless and high. Together, earth and sky became the first pair. From them came the mountains, tall and still, the sea, flowing and deep, and then children, many children, huge and strong. They were called Titans, 12 great beings, Oceanus, the encircling river, Coeus, memory and the north, Creus, the south, Hyperion, the light of the sun, Iapetus, the piercer, and Cronus, the youngest and the cleverest. There were daughters, too, the Titanesses, Tethys, the nurse of rivers, Thea, shining light, Phoebe, bright intellect, and Mnemosyne, memory itself, Themis, order and law, and Rhea, the gentle flow. All of them vast, all of them slow, their names like low notes in a song. Oceanus, Tethys, Hyperion, Thea. One by one, their forms filling the new world. Gaia also bore other beings, the one-eyed Cyclopes, great craftsmen, and the Hecaton Chires, the hundred-handed ones, beings of huge strength, too strong, too wild. Uranus, the sky, looked at his children. He feared them. He found them heavy and strange. One by one, he pushed them back into Gaia's depths, back into the womb of Earth. She groaned under the weight of them. She felt pain, and she plodded quietly. Gaia shaped a sickle of stone, a curved blade. She asked her children who would dare to strike at their father. Only one stepped forward, Cronus, the youngest, the cunning one. When Uranus came down to lie with Gaia, Cronus reached out with the sickle. He struck. He cut away the power of the sky, and the blood of Uranus fell. It fell into the sea. It fell onto the earth. From it arose new beings, the Furies, avengers of wrong, the giants, great fighters, and from the sea foam, much later, Aphrodite would rise. But that is another story. Uranus withdrew. The sky was split from the earth. Cronus took his father's place. He became the ruler of the cosmos. The age of the Titans began. For a time, it was quiet. The rivers flowed. The sun rose and set. The earth was fertile. The children of Gaia and Uranus ruled gently. Yet, as always in these myths, there was a shadow, a fear. Cronus had learned from his father's fall. He knew a child of his own might overthrow him, and so he prepared. But for now, the world rested in the hands of the Titans, a vast, still order, mountains unmoving, seas circling the edges, sky stretched overhead, names drifting like clouds.
Cronus ruled after the fall of his father. He held the sickle of stone, and he sat upon the new throne of the heavens. Around him the Titans moved like slow rivers, Oceanus circling the world, Hyperion carrying the light of the sun, Minimus holding memory, Themis shaping law, Rhea at his side, gentle and steady. The world under Cronus was rich and green. The Greeks would later call it a golden age. No war, no hunger. Men and women living like children, close to the gods, without toil. The earth gave food by itself. Rivers ran clear. Trees bore fruit without end. Yet, Cronus was not at peace. He had cut down his father, and he feared his own children. Prophecy whispered that one of them would rise up and overthrow him, as he had overthrown Uranus. He could not forget. He could not forgive the future. When Rhea bore her first child, Cronus took the baby in his hands. Without a word, he opened his mouth and swallowed it whole. The child went down into the darkness inside him. When the second child was born, he did the same, and the third, and the fourth. One by one, he swallowed them. Hestia, Demeter, Hera, Hades, Poseidon, each lost in the belly of the Titan. Rhea grieved. She could not fight him. She could only watch as her children disappeared. But when she was ready to give birth again, she went secretly to the island of Crete. There, in a cave, hidden by trees and rock, she gave birth to her last son. His name was Zeus. To save him, she wrapped a stone in swaddling clothes and gave it to Cronus as if it were the newborn child. Cronus swallowed the stone without looking. He thought the prophecy defeated. He thought his power secure. Zeus grew in the cave, nursed by the goat Amalthea, guarded by spirits who clashed their shields and shouted to cover his cries. He grew strong. He grew wise. When he had reached his full strength, he returned, disguised, to his father's court. He became Cronus's cupbearer, quiet, patient. He mixed a potion for the king of the Titans, a drink of mustard and honey and magic. Cronus drank. His stomach churned. He bent double. One by one, he vomited up the children he had swallowed. First came the stone, wrapped in cloth. Then Hestia, Demeter, Hera, Hades, Poseidon. They emerged alive, grown, furious, grateful. Together they rose against Cronus and the other Titans. The war that followed was called the Titanomachy. For 10 years, gods and Titans fought across the world. Mountains were torn up and hurled. Seas boiled. The earth shook. But here, in this quiet telling, we only see it as a slow struggle of names and shapes. Zeus standing with his brothers and sisters, Cronus with his old allies, lightning against stone. At last the Olympians won. Zeus cast the Titans into Tartarus, the deep shadow beneath the earth, and set the 100-handed ones as their guards. Cronus fell, the age of the Titans ended. Zeus divided the world with his brothers. He kept the sky. Poseidon took the sea. Hades took the underworld. The earth and Mount Olympus were shared among all. The new order began. Zeus sat upon his throne of thunder at the peak of Olympus. Around him gathered his kin, the new gods, bright and young, full of power. The age of the Olympians had begun.
On Mount Olympus, the air was thin and cool. White peaks glowed against a blue sky. Clouds moved like slow ships. Here the new gods gathered, the Olympians. 12 bright shapes seated in a circle, their power flowing outward like a quiet tide. Zeus sat at the center, broad-shouldered, calm for now, a scepter in his hand, the thunder hidden inside his voice. He ruled the sky and the order of the cosmos. Around him sat his family. Hera beside him, queen of the gods, protector of marriage, stern, watchful, beautiful with eyes like dark pebbles at the bottom of a river. She held a scepter tipped with a lotus. She carried herself like a slow-moving storm. Poseidon sat near, the god of the sea, his beard thick, his hair flowing like water. In his hand, the trident. Waves rolled at his feet, even here on the mountain. He ruled every current, every storm, every fish beneath the surface. Demeter, goddess of the harvest, sat quietly, a sheaf of wheat across her knees. She watched the fields below. She watched seeds sprout and ripen. She held the rhythm of the seasons in her lap. Athena, born from the head of Zeus, sat in shining armor but silent. The owl at her shoulder blinked. She held the spear but did not lift it. Wisdom, crafts, reason, the still mind in the midst of noise. Ares, bright as the sun at dawn, leaned on his lyre. He was the god of light, of music, of healing. His songs were rays, his arrows were beams, his eyes never closed. Artemis, his twin, sat across from him, cool and pale, the bow resting across her knees. Goddess of the hunt, of the moon, of quiet places where no one goes. Her gaze was steady as the silver light she ruled. Ares, god of war, shifted restlessly on his seat. His spear glinted, his eyes were sharp. He was the clash and the noise, but here he sat muted, waiting. Aphrodite drifted among them like a warm breeze, born of the sea foam, goddess of beauty, of desire, of the pull between hearts. Her smile soft but endless. Hermes, the messenger, perched on the edge of his chair. His sandals sprouted wings. He was ready to rise, to move, to cross boundaries. God of travelers, of luck, of words. Hephaestus sat apart, hammer on his knee. The god of the forge, of fire, of patient making. His hands scarred but steady. Sparks glowed at his fingertips even in this high air. And Hestia, quietest of all, goddess of the hearth, of the home. No weapons, no storms, only the steady flame of belonging. She kept the center. She kept the circle. These were the Olympians, names like a chant: Zeus, Hera, Poseidon, Demeter, Athena, Apollo, Artemis, Ares, Aphrodite, Hermes, Hephaestus, Hestia. These ruled the new world, sky and sea, fields and cities, war and love, fire and home, each with their domain, each with their stories. Below them mortals lived and dreamed, built temples, lit fires, whispered prayers. Above them the gods watched, like bright, slow-moving stars.
Far below Mount Olympus, the world of mortals stretched out like a patchwork of green and brown. Rivers flowed slowly, forests rustled in the wind, and cities slept in the afternoon sun. Here, among men and women, lived heroes. Perseus was one of them, quiet, clever, unassuming. He did not rush. He carried only a sword and a shield that reflected light. His task was strange and slow, to travel to the edge of the known world and confront a monster named Medusa. Her hair was snakes. Her eyes could turn any living thing to stone. But Perseus moved carefully, step by careful step. The Gorgon did not notice him at first. He held his shield like a mirror. He did not meet her gaze. Slowly, steadily, he cut the head from her shoulders. Medusa was still, frozen in time. Perseus wrapped her head and carried it back. Another hero was Heracles, strong and patient in his own way. 12 labors awaited him, each a long task requiring patience more than haste. The Nemean lion, its hide impenetrable, lay in wait. Heracles moved quietly, studied its habits, and finally subdued it. Then came the Lernaean Hydra, a creature with many heads, each rising slowly from the marsh. He cut 1, 2, 3, yet more grew. He kept his calm. Methodical, deliberate, he finally ended its threat. And so the labors continued, one after another, slow, long, endless to a mortal mind, yet perfect for the gods' testing. Theseus moved through another kind of challenge, the labyrinth, twisting and quiet. The Minotaur slept within, its breath slow and deep. Theseus walked the halls step by careful step, guided by a string, moving silently. When he reached the center, the Minotaur awoke. But Theseus was patient. He struck once, twice, then the beast fell. He retraced his steps through the maze, and the city beyond waited, without realizing how close it had been to shadows. Even monsters, in their own time, had their place. The Chimera, fire-breathing, rested on the hills. The Harpies, winged and silent, moved through the sky. Scylla lurked in the waters, her shape a slow ripple in the dark. None were rushed, none were loud. They were simply part of the world, existing quietly in the edges of myth, waiting for a hero, a mortal, or a god to cross their path. The heroes themselves were more than just their deeds. They were patience, endurance, careful thought, and sometimes sorrow. Perseus held the weight of a head that could kill. Heracles bore the fatigue of labors that would last a lifetime. Theseus carried the lives of a city on his back. Each step measured, each action deliberate. And you, lying here, listen. The names drift past like clouds. Perseus, Medusa, Heracles, Nemean lion, Hydra, Theseus, Minotaur, Chimera, Harpies, Scylla. They pass over you slowly. No rush, no urgency, only soft, quiet movement. This is the world of heroes and monsters, a place of trial, of quiet strength, of patience. You do not need to act. You only need to hear, to follow their journey as it drifts by, calm and steady, until your thoughts become as gentle as the stories themselves.
Heracles' 12 labors stretched across the land like a long, winding path. Each task tested him, not with sudden terror, but with quiet endurance. The Nemean lion, the Lernaean hydra, the Ceryneian hind, each challenge required patience. He moved slowly, deliberately. He watched. He waited. He acted only when the time was right. The Erymanthian boar trudged through the forest, moving in measured steps. Heracles followed it carefully, knowing that haste could ruin everything. The Augean stables were full of years of filth, a slow and unending task. Yet Heracles bent to it, and the rivers themselves aided him, carrying away the burden of the past. The Stymphalian birds flew in quiet flocks over the marshes. Their wings stirred the air softly. Heracles raised his bow. 1, 2, 3 arrows. Each bird fell, not in a rush, but in the gentle settling of feathers to the earth. The Cretan bull, the mares of Diomedes, the girdle of Hippolyta, each challenge stretched his days. Long journeys across mountains, rivers, and islands. Quiet victories. Slow and steady courage. Even the final labor, the capture of Cerberus from the underworld, was measured. He descended into the shadowy realm, calm and patient. Cerberus, the three-headed dog, waited, its growls low and rumbling like distant thunder. Heracles approached with care, not anger, not haste. One hand upon the heads, one upon the body, and slowly he led the beast to the surface. Heroes, like Heracles, existed in a world where time itself seemed to move slower. Each step mattered. Each moment held weight. There was no rush, only the quiet unfolding of deeds. Far away, another story began to stir. The Trojan War. Not yet in full fury, but moving slowly through prophecy and chance. Paris, son of Priam, chosen by the gods to judge a contest of beauty among 3 goddesses, Aphrodite, Hera, and Athena, each waiting patiently for the decision. Paris chose Aphrodite, and so the threads of fate began to weave quietly. A prince taken, a city warned, men called to arms, ships gathering in silence before the waves. The heroes of Greece, Achilles, Odysseus, Ajax, and many others, moved slowly toward Troy. Each one with a story, each one with a name that would drift across time like a leaf on a calm river. Even the walls of Troy were silent then. No clash of spears yet, only the anticipation of what was to come. Hector and Aeneas walked the streets, speaking quietly to friends, unaware that history was approaching. You, lying here, listen. The labors of Heracles, the quiet stirrings of Troy. The names pass slowly over you. Heracles, Nemean lion, Hydra, Ceryneian hind, Erymanthian boar, Stymphalian birds, Cerberus, Paris, Aphrodite, Athena, Hera, Hector, Achilles, Odysseus, each one a gentle note in the vast melody of myth. This is not a story of sudden bursts, of sharp noises, of rushing battles. It is the soft flow of time, of deeds, of names that endure. And as you listen, your thoughts begin to move more slowly, drifting like the heroes across the lands, across the seas, across the years of legend.
The Trojan War moved slowly, like a tide rolling across the shore. Men gathered, ships lined the coasts, and the air was thick with quiet anticipation. Achilles, swift and strong, waited in his tent. Hector, steady and brave, walked the streets of Troy. The city itself seemed to breathe, holding its calm before the coming days. The battles were long, measured. Spears met shields, arrows flew. Yet even in conflict, the world seemed to move in slow motion, as if the earth itself had slowed to watch. Names drifted through the smoke and dust: Agamemnon, Menelaus, Patroclus, Paris, Helen. Each step, each movement deliberate and heavy with consequence. The gods watched from Olympus, silent and still. Athena whispered counsel to one. Aphrodite protected another. Apollo's bow sang across the sky. Ares stirred the hearts of men, but even he did not hurry. The war stretched on for years, each day quiet, each night still, until Troy fell not in a roar, but in the subtle collapse of walls and the soft retreat of its people. Odysseus, clever and patient, left the burning city and began his long journey home. He did not rush. The seas were wide, the winds were unpredictable. Calypso's island, the siren's song, the whirlpools of Scylla and Charybdis all tested him slowly. Each challenge was a step, each step a lesson in endurance, in waiting, in observing. You, listening, feel the rhythm of these stories. The names pass like soft waves: Achilles, Hector, Odysseus, Calypso, Circe, Hades, Cerberus, Styx, Lethe. Each one settles gently, one after another, soft as a lullaby. This is the world of myth, not as a storm, but as a quiet river. The gods, the heroes, the monsters, the cities, all flowing slowly together, and you drift with them, your thoughts softening, your mind moving at the same slow, deliberate pace as these timeless stories. Beyond the great heroes and the famous battles, many other stories drift quietly through the world of Greek myth. Daedalus, the clever craftsman, built wings of feathers and wax for his son, Icarus. The boy flew too high, the sun melted the wax, and he fell into the sea. Yet the story moves slowly, a gentle reminder of caution, of patience, of limits. Orpheus, the musician, walked into the underworld to bring back his wife Eurydice. He played his lyre, and even Hades paused, listening. The gates opened. He led her slowly, carefully. Yet one glance, one tiny step too soon, and she was gone again. Even in loss, the story is soft, measured, deliberate. And there are the lesser gods and spirits, quietly moving through the world. The winds, the rivers, the seasons. Pan in the forests, Hecate at crossroads, the nymphs in streams. Each has a name, each has a place,
Each drifts through the stories without noise, without rush. Even monsters, once terrifying, fade in this quiet telling. Medusa sleeps beneath stone. The Hydra rests in her marsh. The Minotaur slumbers in his labyrinth. The world is not dangerous now, only slow, deliberate movement. Names floating through time like clouds. The end of a story is not a roar, but a sigh. Troy fell. Odysseus returned. The heroes aged. The gods continued. Mountains remained. Rivers continued to flow. Seasons changed. The world of myth settled into quiet rhythms. You are lying here, listening. Names, places, stories drifting softly over you. Zeus, Hera, Poseidon, Athena, Apollo, Artemis, Ares, Aphrodite, Hermes, Hephaestus, Hestia, Perseus, Heracles, Theseus, Achilles, Hector, Odysseus, Daedalus, Icarus, Orpheus, Eurydice, Medusa, Hydra, Minotaur, Cerberus, Styx, Lethe. All the myths of Greece flowing together in a gentle, endless river. No rush, no loud clamor, only soft, slow movements. You follow them easily, gently, letting your mind drift as the stories drift. And now the world is still. Mount Olympus glows faintly in the distance. The seas ripple softly. The underworld waits quietly beneath the earth. Heroes and monsters, gods and mortals, all resting. You may close your eyes. Breathe slowly. Let the names of gods and heroes drift through your mind, one after another, like gentle waves. Let the stories fade softly into your dreams. Chaos, Gaia, Uranus, Titans, Olympians, heroes, monsters, all drifting into quiet, slow eternity. Sleep now gently. The myths are here, whispering softly, moving slowly, carrying you with them into rest.